We rely on you on the inaugurations of Donald Trump. Actually, Premier Ford said that we might lose hundreds of thousands of jobs because of these 25 tariffs. So what is the role of Ontario Energy as a strong negotiation card in the hands of the Canadian politicians, how this will affect this decision and how it will be a good impact for Canada?
Our strong preference is that the federal government fulfills their duties and is able to dissuade President Trump to impose this tariff on their #1 trading partner and friend and Democratic ally. If the federal government has failed to do that, and it would appear that these tariffs are coming, then the Premier and the Premiers of Canada have said that all options are on the table to respond with force and speed and strength, and to negotiate from a position of strength. Well, the President, Trump, will say he doesn't need Canada. That may be a good tweet, but the truth is 1.5 million Americans, their lights are on because of Ontario. The military hardware being built in the U.S. depends on access to our critical minerals. And look, the U.S. doesn't have a domestic supply. We do, and China does. And so the choice is, who are our American friends going to stand with? They can stand with their Democratic friend or a nation for which that obviously doesn't share their values or their interests. So our Premier has been very clear that we need to continue to take our message to the U.S. to make sure they understand it is in their interest to work with Ontario. 9 million Americans today woke up because of the trade relationship with Ontario alone. So we're going to make that message known. If they impose a tariff, that's going to lead to an increase, $1 increase per gallon of gas. Everyone loses. Americans will lose. Canadians will lose. And in a trade war, no one wins. So my hope is common sense will prevail. If it doesn't, we will be prepared to respond and to defend our workers and to support our families through that hardship. And I personally will be going down to Washington on Sunday and on Monday with Minister Vic Fedeli to represent Ontario at the inauguration. And we plan to work around the clock to make our message known that we are stronger together and that our economies, our national security, our energy are all so interconnected. And so let's build a fortress AMCAN, this idea of a continental approach to energy integration. Let's not move apart. Let's further integrate for the benefit of our families, our economies, and our workers.
Follow-up questions. Are there any thoughts in case of the insistence of President Trump to impose the tariff to put another tariffs on the energy or the power supply to USA?
That all options are on the table, and the Premier has said we really should not rule anything out. The first thing we need to do is assess what the President does and then work from there. If he imposes a 25% tariff on everything indiscriminately, that will have, as the Premier said, could have the impact of hundreds of thousands of job losses in Ontario and obviously an economic impact to America. So we want to get too ahead of ourselves. We want to just assure Ontarians we're working around the clock, putting pressure on the U.S., on decision makers. We've had the largest ad campaign in the U.S. in Ontario history. Over 400 million impressions of Americans have seen our ads in airports, online. The Premier made sure that there's a large online ad program right around Mar-a-Lago. So whenever the President is at his house, he's going to see the ads on his phone. I'm not kidding. I'm honest. We are literally targeting that level of sophistication to target the decision makers and let them know our economies, our national security are better together. Thank you.